Please have a seat.
Thank you.
So maybe we just jump into our topic, and sitting here on a couch, so that maybe feels, or it's not a couch, it's
very comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
And we don't have to walk.
That's great, and great to have you here. So maybe it feels like sitting at home. So if we were at home, how could we tell there's a smart home system working behind the scenes?
Sure. So how could we tell? Maybe as we sat down, the lights would adjust to how you programmed. You know, you have a specific program in your house, the type, exact dimming setting of a light, and it will know that you're there, and it will set and then they'll turn on some music for you, maybe your favorite music, your playlist. Maybe it'll pull up something on your TV screen. You can view the kids' bedroom, see what they're doing. That's kind of you make a home intuitive. Okay. It knows what you want.
Maybe it would even find information about my guest and find his playlist somewhere in the internet?
Yes, could be.
Okay, great system. So you define a smart home to be an intuitive system, or what is it in a more technical sense?
Yeah, I would say in a more technical sense, a smart home would, well, first of all, from a hardware standpoint, a smart home is going to have a lot more electronics inside of it. That's for sure. Similar to what has become maybe automotive, what has become in a vehicle. A vehicle now has a lot more electronics and a lot more sensing, you would say. Okay, sensing things, sensing light, sensing temperature, humidity maybe. And then also it will also sense the presence of a person, let's say. And then you will have to have some user interaction, which now you don't interact with your home right now, right? So, when somebody talks about smart home, like I'm a marketing guy in electronics, but I'm also an end user. So I will live in the home that's smart, okay? So I have to think about things that I would like my house to do. So things like lighting, sound, equipment, those are things that if they're integrated together, it will make the user experience inside the home much better, much more efficient. And then you can think about more practical things, things that maybe every user is not concerned about. Energy efficiency. Okay, so a home that you don't have to worry about closing the blinds, opening the blinds, raising the heat, reducing the heat. It's smart, so it will be energy efficient on its own. Right?
Yeah. But closing and opening blinds, that's, is it really smart? I mean, I've programmed my blinds to open after sun, open after the sun comes up and close after sunset. But there are days when maybe I'm on holidays or so. So I mean, this adaptability that makes systems smarter. But how can it know? It's not so easy to get sensor information and really make sense of it.
Yeah, I think it's all about the evolution of the sensor. Okay, sensor. Everybody talks about sensing technologies now from a component level, but it's really the evolution of the sensor that's, I think, it's going to enable some of these things. Okay. Of course, the electronics that's going to drive it, but really, a lot of people don't realize that. If you look at your smartphone or tablet, it is the sensors in these devices that actually work with those electronics and the processors to make things happen. So I think in a home, you might find that it is really the evolution of the sensor, okay? Right, the advancement of sensor technology that I think is going to allow the home to really become smart. Okay.
Not so much with software, so to speak.
Well, of course, software will be there, but I think software, hardware has made a lot of advancements over the last few years. Okay, meaning hardware, you can get so much processing power in a smartphone or a tablet. Where it used to take the whole room. A mainframe computer. Now you have it in your hand. Okay. In fact, I was told, I went to NASA once for a tour. And that guy told me, the scientist told me, the smartphone, Android or iPhone, has the same amount of processing power that satellites used to have. Meaning you can send a phone into space. It has the same processing power as those old satellites. Yeah. So same thing. But you know what? I think sensor technology is still evolving. Where I think the combination of the two will now enable the next generation of smart home.
Yeah, and talking about smart homes is mostly talking about future in a sense. What we have, we do not recognize anymore as smart. Yes. We talked in the 90s already about Bill Gates and his nice home with many smart gadgets maybe, but so to speak, they didn't change so much. It got cheaper, but not cheap enough yet.
Yeah, I think there is a certain point in the some of these emerging markets where the cost of ownership will have to come down to a certain level where there'll be a higher volume of usage. Meaning, just like it's very similar to some other markets. For example, like LED lighting, for example, LED light bulb used to cost too much. Meaning it wasn't practical for you to replace all of the bulbs in your home with LED to try to get energy savings. But now LED pricing has come down to the price point where now the volumes are dramatically going up. Okay, so there's an inflection point where now there's a adaptation. It's now not an emerging market, it's a maturing market now. So that's where the smart home, that's where it needs to come. The electronics that are in the home for a smart home need to come down to that price level where it makes it practical for the end user to say, yeah, that's within my budget, and then that will drive the volumes up, and then that'll drive costs further down. All the component costs will come down. Yeah.
So for the market, price points are very important, of course. On the other hand, how important is reliability for the acceptance of such systems?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes high reliability will drive costs up. We're in Electronica, so there's a lot of electronic component makers here. So, but eventually, as volumes go up, reliability gets built into the process, right? Even though you can consider it low cost, but as volumes increase within a given factory, you learn how to make a given component with higher reliability. But reliability in a home, typically nowadays, users, they have different definitions of reliability. Some guy might say, oh, okay, if it lasts 3 years, that's good enough. Okay. Somebody might say, it has to last 20 years. Maybe 20 years is really not practical anymore in this day and age. Nobody uses a cell phone for more than 3 years. Yeah, right? So. Yeah.
But it's not rocket science after all. It's just simple, intelligent combinations of sensors and actors and some smart software. So it should be possible to have reliable systems.
I think so. I think you can make it low cost and reliable. It just has to be simple. And then, what really drives reliability, I think, when we talk to customers, sometimes customers are really hesitant to try new technologies because the reliability has not been fully tested, right? So I think the same thing will happen here when our end customers, the device makers, smart home equipment makers, they will make sure that the components that they use inside of the hardware and the software has been fully tested, right? It's already been tested, it's already been proven reliability, and then they will use those components. That's what will really give the reliability.
Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing your views with us.